Hi, my name is Tim Holt, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the September 16th Carlisle Community Forum. This is a program that's put on by the Carlisle Counseling on Aging, and it's dedicated to providing interesting information to both the seniors and the general population of Carlisle. We try on a monthly basis to go over all of the things that are going on in the COA and the great programs that are put on by the COA. But we also try to have an interesting guest to interview, and we're very happy this week to have Erin Stevens here, who is the, let me get the title right, Public Information and Communications Manager for Minutemen Media Network. So basically, it's the organization that runs the local television network. So we're excited for that, and we're excited to speak with Erin about that. So the first thing we do in our show is give both Angela Smith, the Director of Outreach and Programming, and David Klein the chance to update it. But let me first go through our panel so everybody knows who they're looking at. From the left on your screen, you'll see Jean Bagnashi, who is representing the Friends of the Council on Aging today, a great organization that helps provide a lot of support to the organization, including funding. So she'll give us a little update on the Friends. Next to her is who everybody knows, Angela Smith, who's the Director of Programming and Outreach for our COA, and takes care of the many, many programs that occur in the Council on Aging. And then next to her is David Klein, who is the Director of the Council on Aging, for how long now?
About 7 years.
About 7 years. So he's a seasoned director. And next to David is Erin Stevens, who works for the town of Concord as the Public Information and Communications Manager, and she's our guest today. So with that, I'll turn it over to David to get the highlights. What are the major issues that are going on right now in the COA?
Well, Tim, the first thing is that the town asked us to do a quick announcement, and it's important very important from the town point of view, because we're going to have a special town meeting. And as you know from being a longtime Carlisle resident, there aren't many fall town meetings, just occasionally if there's a big issue. So I'm going to read this directly. It says, a special town meeting has been called for Monday, October 7th. The meeting will be held at the Corey Auditorium of the Carlisle Public School and begins promptly at 7 p.m. A quorum of 150 voters is required before the meeting may begin. A voter registration session will be held at the town clerk's office on Friday, September 27th for anyone who is not already registered to vote. The clerk's office will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. to facilitate this registration. Residents are encouraged to read the town meeting warrant, which will be posted on the town website in both news and notices and town meeting tabs on the home page. Thank you.
Okay, so the sort of the bottom line is the main date is October 7th?
That's right.
And the time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m., and they'll be considering the approval of a large communications tower, right?
That is the major thrust of what they're considering. I know, whenever they have announce a town meeting, that other articles can be added to the warrant, but I'm not aware of what they are. So I think that this is the major thing.
So if it's important to the town, any structure of this nature that's preeminent in both view, but also important to a town service, is an important discussion. So while it's a fall town meeting and it's probably a small number of issues, is an important issue, and would really encourage people to try to get to that, because that forum of 150 is you can't do the business without the 150. Okay, and it's either three things that can happen. Okay, we can get the 150 right away, get through the business and make it happen. We can wait around for 2 hours as people start calling people and trying to get people to come there to get the quorum, which is probably not the greatest government that there is. Or third, you won't be able to have the meeting. And all of the work and time and energy that's put into this will have to be redone and to do it again. So please consider coming to that meeting. The other important date that you referenced, if you are a new citizen and you haven't registered to vote, or for whatever reason, in Carlisle, I can't imagine anything but being a new citizen who hasn't done it. Tell me that date again.
September 27th, which is not this Friday, but the following Friday, is the date for a voter registration session at the town clerk's office. And for anybody who's not already registered, and the clerk's office will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., 8 p.m. on a Friday. So they're keeping the office open specifically for this purpose for people.
Great. Okay. Thank you for doing that. I think that's from the town officials. I know they'll hopefully be able to have a quorum early and get.
Hopefully,
get
and even if it's an issue that warrants a lot of debate, it's still one single major issue. So at least people don't have to feel like it's going to be a 3-hour meeting. One would hope.
The other issue that I was thinking about is for people to be mindful about being outside at dusk. In Concord, there is now, they have with the schools arranged for late night sporting events to be held earlier and not after 6 o'clock, because this is a serious matter with the EEE. And I don't think that has occurred here yet in terms of the alarm relating to the danger in Carlisle, but
not yet. But in the Mosquito, they did have an article that they were considering. The Board of Health was considering doing the same thing. So I think that Carlisle is looking at doing what Concord is doing.
And even if they haven't, any town with the name Mosquito in its town newspaper
That's right.
probably have citizens mindful of being outside late until the first frost, right? First major frost. Okay.
One more thing, Tim, before we jump into our great guest and some of our other COA-related announcements. As people may be aware, we've been working on a grant through CHNA, the Community Health Network area, which is funded by Leahy Clinic. And we have had a couple projects, one involving a pilot for a public health nurse, which has been helpful to the COA, and the Board of Health has been running that. The second is a pilot transportation program using Lyft, and just a quick mention on that. We have about 50 people registered where on their phones, if they have the Lyft app, they can get a $10 discount on rides within 55 miles of Carlisle. So if you're going from Carlisle to have lunch at the Trails End Cafe in Concord, and if that were a $13 ride, you'd get $10 off that. It would be a $3 ride, just as an example. You pay the first $2, we pay the next $10, and then you pay the difference after that. So it's great. It's for people age 50 and over, and up to 4 rides per month. And we've had, limited people using it, 9, 10 rides per month. It's not, but I think for the people that are using it, it's another option. And why not? I know there's been negative press on Lyft and Uber recently, and I fully appreciate what everybody is concerned about. On the other hand, why not use it locally and get used to it so that if you ever need it in an emergency, it's there for you. So we'll keep that program running for as long as possible. But the third thing, and this is the thrust of what I was going to say, is we're doing a feasibility study for a community center in Carlisle. Carlisle operates its Council on Aging operations and almost all of its operations out of Town Hall, other than the police and fire and the library. And we hired an architect, and we're almost through with this initial phase of the project. There's a piece of property at the back of what used to be known as the Goff Mosley property, 338 Bedford Road, and the architect's working on his design for that. But one of the things that we've decided to do before the CHNA grant money runs out is do a real short online survey. It's only 5 questions. It's being put on the website as we speak this morning, the town website, and we're going to do a press release to the Mosquito. But I just wanted to announce it here too. There will be a 5-question survey. It's pretty easy questions to answer, basically asking, hey, if we had a building, what would you like to do? And it lists some things, and you kind of check off all that apply or don't apply. And then there's a spot for you to put in a comment if you just disagree.
You agree.
Or you agree, right. And that's it. And we tried to ask pertinent questions like, if you were to come to the building, when do you think you would use it? Weekday mornings, weekday evenings, weekends, and just very easy, literally 2 minutes.
This is for all age ranges?
All age ranges, even kids, all age ranges can take this survey. So we're probably going to, speaking of the town meeting, we'll probably keep it open until a day or two after town meeting, and maybe at town meeting we'll use that as a wrap up point for people. So it'll only be open for 2 or 3 weeks, and easy peasy, it will be done with. And
so if I'm a citizen, what's the easiest way for me to participate in this survey?
Well, I would read you the link right now, but we know that it's going to be on the town website. It will probably be in the news and notes section of the town website, but we'll be publicizing a link for you to go. And
we'll get that in the newspaper?
We'll get that in the newspaper on Friday. That's our goal.
Yeah.
And then we'll also publicize it like on our COA Facebook page and maybe on the Facebook pages of other organizations within town.
Yeah. And we'll put it in news.
And we'll put it in the COA has an online or an electronic newsletter that comes out weekly that Angela and our stellar volunteer and board member Maxine Crowther works on. So that has a distribution of about 600 people, or like electronic newsletter, and so.
This is probably having sort of followed this issue reasonably closely for the last 35 years. This is probably the closest we have come in terms of a real opportunity to get a community center in Carlisle. And the last thing, if you want to have input into that in terms of what it would be like, how it would be designed, and what the functions are, it's much better to do it now versus when those plans are already in place. Okay.
I would agree with that, Tim, and I know we're taking a little bit more time than we normally do, but just to throw this, I so appreciate everything you're saying. This other thought about it is that we're also starting a master planning process here in Carlisle. I mean, they hired a consultant, and so that's another reality that apparently has been talked about for years. And it could be that we do this feasibility study and the master planning committee decides to go in another direction in terms of location or what have you. But we're trying to do this survey, the study, to make it, even though there is a location, to make it somewhat location agnostic in terms of the programming elements and what people want. So answering the survey will be helpful no matter where the building might end up being.
Right. So do your survey.
Do the survey, come to town meeting, participate in Minuteman Media Network.
It's a community center. If we can't get the community to comment on it, we may not get a community center. So let's do this. Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the events yet, but I just want to let people know we do have something called a Yellow Dot program that we started this summer, which is meant for you to put your emergency information, your name, your doctors, any medical issues you have, any allergies you have. You can come in to the COA and get a copy of it. It's free. It will give you this folder and also a sticker for your car. And this is something that's used nationwide. So if a first responder sees one of these on your car and you're in a car accident, they know to go to your glove box and look for the emergency information. The police and the fire also have these, so if you can't get to the COA, stop by their offices on a weekend or during the week. And if you don't have a file of life and you do take any medications, or there's somebody that you'd like to be informed of an emergency, we have these as well in our office. So we just want to make sure that people are prepared. Another reason for having the yellow dot is if you are diabetic, and if a policeman sees you swerving, he may think you're drunk and maybe it's a diabetic episode. And at least having this in your folder will make it more, gives you a better chance of the policeman believing you're not drunk, but rather having a diabetic episode because it's right there in black and white. So with no further ado, I'll leave it to you and Erin.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both, David and Angela. We'll be back to you for the details, all right, after the interview with the guest. I'm very excited about this interview, and it's nice to have you here, Erin. we talked a little bit. Erin has worked in the town of Concord for a couple of years in this capacity. And previous to that, she has an incredibly interesting background, being a teacher in the Boston Public Schools and a number of other things she told me that have led her to this work now in communications and community work. So we're really glad to have you here. Why don't we start with, I think people are generally aware, but it would be good to update the kind of changes that occurred in the last 2 years relating to public TV in Concord and Carlisle, and then we can move from there.
Sure. Before I start that, I just want to say that Triple E in Concord, it is precautionary measures that we're taking. I don't want anybody to think that we have Triple E in Concord.
We don't have Triple E in Concord, but there was a case in Sudbury.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
which is and everybody knows where Sudbury is.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
Yeah. I just didn't want to spread any rumors yet.
It's not to be alarmist, but just take a little extra care.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have plenty of information on our website. But back to why I'm here. So in October of last year, Chris Whalen, the former town manager of Concord, decided not to renew the contract with CCTV, who was previously providing the PEG services, public education and government, which does shows like this, as well as many others. They were a nonprofit that were working in contracting with the town, but Chris Whalen decided that wasn't quite working out the way that they had originally planned, and so they decided to take on the PEG services as a part of the Public Information Division, which is my division.
So previously, and I think people know this Concord Carlisle Public TV was a not-for-profit organization. It had a board that had met representatives of both Concord and Carlisle on it, and they oversaw the operations of the local programming, and now that's changed.
Yes, so I serve as what you call the executive director, in that I oversee what's going on, making sure that things are happening the way that they should be happening, hopefully. We also have a committee, the PEG Access Advisory Committee, which is made up of Concord residents who have interest in PEG television and community television. And we also have a Carlisle representative, which is an ex officio member. We are currently looking for a new one because our previous rep had to step down. So if you're interested, if anybody's interested.
And this is an advisory committee to you in overseeing public TV. So this is a good message for that. If you have
Absolutely.
interest in the public television station, which you should, it's one of the vehicles where we get information about what's going on. There's an opportunity to be on this board as a representative of Carlisle. So if you have anybody who has interest, this is an interesting opportunity, right?
Yeah, we're really excited. We want to have that representative from Carlisle because they have such an important voice in showing us. We get an idea of what Carlisle wants from talking to citizens, from talking to the administration, but to have somebody there and saying, well, I think that Carlisle would really prefer us to do this, that's just, you can't get that anywhere else. It's just.
And we talked about this a little bit. You're an employee of the town of Concord and sit in a town Concord office
Yes.
with other Concord people and the government of Concord. What do you all do to kind of assure that there is programming from Carlisle?
Sure. So we contract with Carlisle for PEG services. So if somebody says, hey, you know something, we really want to have the COA program taped, we say, absolutely, we'd love to. Tell us when and where, we'll be there. We've had people call us about the Boy Scouts want to do a tour of how does production happen? What does TV do? And so we work with them and we try to come up with programs that we think people are going to be interested in, but we're always looking to the community to help us out and figure out what's
So
going
when
on.
that happens, okay, let's say, and that's, hopefully it'll happen more, okay, because I think, as we talked, people are changing the way they get information from unfortunately from reading a lot, although the newspaper is great here and they do read that, but video and social media are much more important in the way people get information now. But hopefully people will start to suggest programming. And when they do that, what can they anticipate as being the role of that suggester, and what do the people have to provide versus what you all will provide?
So there's a couple different ways to go about it. We always love to have people that come in and say, you know something, I want to take this from my idea right straight through to the end. I want to be involved with all of the video camera setup, and I want to do the actual filming, and I want to do the post-production, and I want to add in sound effects and whatever else that their dream is to have this become in the end.
Yep.
But we also have people that say, you know something, I have this fantastic idea. I think that other people are really going to enjoy learning about. The example I used earlier when we were speaking is how bees make honey. Somebody could say, you know something, this is something I've always been interested in. I bet other people are also interested in it. Can you make this happen? And we say, okay, well, let's see if we can find an expert on bees in town. And let's see if we can find somebody who has some hives. And let's go out, and would you like to be involved? Would you like to come around with us and interview the people? Would you like to be involved in this step or that step? Or would you like to just sort of give us your idea? And once you give us your idea, we'll sort of put it into our pool of different things that are coming up. And things that, for instance, if it's summer, we might be more interested in producing something that's upcoming about bees. Whereas in the winter, people aren't thinking about bees so much because they're not around and you don't see them as much.
Now, my guess, however, if that idea is more thought out and you have the ability to provide a little bit more, you have a better shot at it. Is that fair? Yeah.
I think that you'll get it done a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
In that if you're really sort of pushing things along, because a lot of people, there's so many people that have so many fantastic ideas, but we only have so much time in the day.
Right.
And so we have to sort of limit what we can produce, not because we don't want to. And it will still stay in our sort of pool of ideas. And we'll say, remember that great idea somebody had about honeybees? Where is that? Let's dig that up. Who was that about? Let's get in contact with them and see if we can really put this together. So that's the sort of, the back and forth there. You're going to get some people that are going to really be excited and say, I want to get this done in the next 3 months. Let's push this forward and let's put this out. We say, great, let's do it. And then there are other people who say, yeah, when we get around to it, I think this would be a cool program to have.
So, and in terms of the regular programming that comes out of, what is now covered in Carlisle in terms of the regular community, the government functions?
Mm-hmm. So we have I always say, you have the Board of Selectmen. We have the Select
Familiar with
Board.
that.
Yes. It's backwards, so I get confused. So we have the Board of Selectmen here is covered. The COA is covered. We have the school committee, which is covered.
So all the school committee meetings, and now that capability exists in the school, yeah.
Yes. And I think those are the main things that are always taped. There are other things that will come up and people will say, oh, town meeting's coming up. We tape town meeting. There might be something coming up in terms of a special program that somebody wants to do, or if there's a special speaker coming, we might come and do that. If people have let us know ahead of time and we say, great, yeah, we'll absolutely come and talk to you.
Yeah, I've come a long way on this. In the beginning, I was like, there was almost it's going to be on TV, and you felt like that was this restriction in some way. And I've really evolved to the point where now I'm now taken on this role as chairman of the committee to build a new middle school in Concord, and we're really trying to get virtually everything we can on TV, okay? Because I've come now to the realization that it is much more of an aid both to the citizens and to you in dissemination of information. So, if there is a significant issue that the town is considering, I would really encourage them to try to get as much of it on TV as you can. I'm always shocked by the number of people who watch and the number of people who then provide productive input into the process because they've watched the television shows. Yeah.
Yeah, we always encourage people to let us know if there's something coming up that you want to have taped. We'll absolutely try to fit it into our schedule. We are trying to shove too much into our schedule sometimes, and so we find ourselves a little bit strapped for time.
When it rains, it pours.
Exactly, yeah. I've really been pushing, trying to get more people involved, which is great. Less great for my staff. I keep them busy, but they do great work, and so I'm really thankful to have such competent people working with me and being able to produce such wonderful things.
And what it does is it allows people to more fully understand the dilemmas of what you're facing versus the result of a discussion. That in any serious issue, there are many sides to it, and and sometimes it's often difficult for a writer just covering to it. But the television does, I think, give a great opportunity if people are really interested in it to see the actual deliberative process in action, and I think that's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah. There was another set of questions that we started to talk about, is how, as a viewer, do I interact with it? I've heard about this program, or I've heard about this show. How can I find out when it's on, or where can I find out where it's on? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Sure. So one of the great tools that we have now, it's newly released, is our new website, which you can get to by going to www.minuteman.media. That will bring you right to our brand new website. It has things like a schedule on it, so you can see what is upcoming on the public, the education, and the government channels for the day.
So say it again, the
It's
www.
www.minuteman.media.
Okay.
So it's a really great resource in that it helps people figure out. They can look at it, say, in the morning and say, you know something, I know that this afternoon I have to run some errands, but let's see what else is coming up. And they look at it and they say, oh my goodness, I did not know that there was a talk on Einstein later today. I'd love to watch that. That's coming on at 2. I will go and run my errands before that and be back to watch that at 2. So it's a really great resource to be able to take a look and see what's upcoming. We also have a calendar which shows you what is going to be taped. So you can go and take a look and say, I wonder if the middle school building committee is going to be taped. So you can go and you can take a look and you can say, oh, yep, I can see right on here that it is on their production calendar. So we know that that is going to be taped, so that I can go back and rewatch it later, because I'm definitely going to the meeting to go and watch it happen in live action.
Now, are there videos that when they can actually call up on demand, if you will,
Absolutely.
and the same site? Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 links. We have one to what we call our archive, which has everything for the past couple of years previous to when we absorbed CCTV into Minuteman Media Network in October of last year. That is what we call our archive. That also has some new programming as well, but that's where you'll find all of the older programming. We also have a YouTube channel, which will show you all of the current and up-to-date programming. It has playlists, so it's nice and easy to search for whatever you're looking for. If you say, I know that there was a select board meeting that I really wanted to watch, you can go and you can take a look and you can find all those meetings, and they're nicely laid out, and you can say, oh, here's the date. I know exactly where that's going on.
Okay. So what would you, we've talked about an idea, how can they be part of it? The way to be part of it is 2 things, as I understand it. One, watch it. Okay.
We encourage everyone to watch.
Erin's talked about how easy it is to find out what you might want to see is on, and then watch. But the second thing is to get involved. Okay.
Absolutely.
And there's a way out here way to get involved, with an opportunity to sit on the advisory board, right, which I'll mention again. But the other is I have an idea, and I would like to help.
That's my cue.
So the other way to get involved is that you have an idea and you want to get a program or initiated or started or stimulated, and the most direct way is to call you, right?
So there's a couple different ways to do it. You can either give us a call, or you can send us an email at mmnetwork@concordma.gov. Or there's also a form on the website that you can fill out. And all this information is also on the website.
Right. All right. So in closing, what I always ask our guests is, what are the 2 or 3 things that you would like Carlisle residents, Carlisle seniors, Carlisle residents to remember about community television?
I think it's really important for you to remember that this is about you. It's not about what I want to see on TV. If nobody lets us know what they want to see, then I'm going to keep saying, okay, well, my guess is that people want to see A. But you never know. If you have a fantastic idea, let us know. If you say, I really wish that people were coming and talking about this issue, let us know. We'd love to. This is your community television. So we want you to be involved, and we want you to really be a part of it. Whether you want to be in production, if you want to come to our meetings, feel free to come to our meetings and let us know. I'm always looking for new programming ideas. I have a whole bunch that I keep throwing at my staff, but I'm always looking for things for the community to bring forward, because that's how you're going to get what you find is important on TV, is by letting us know what you want to see.
All right. Well, this is all very interesting, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank you and the staff for the work that you do for public television, because I think it's important, and I think it's very valuable to people. And I think the town should look forward to working with you to expand it and make it even better. So thank you very much for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go back to the David and Angela show and what's going on in Carlisle.
We're going to jump right in and start announcing things. I think a few of our trips have already passed us by or are already filled.
Or already filled.
So we're jumping into October. We're presaging October, Tim. We have a restaurant review, which is, for those who aren't aware, we just do some informal trips to local residents, local restaurants. And as most Carlilians know, we have Ferns here in Carlisle, and that's it. So these are trips to other towns.
Which is
local
great.
Restaurants,
It's great.
Which
but
is
that-
great,
it's-
yeah. The Ferns is wonderful. We love Ferns, and we do programming at Ferns, just so everybody knows. The place that we're going in October, on Thursday, October 24th, is Nancy's Airfield Cafe. I think we talked a little bit about it in last month's segment, and it's a great place. I haven't been there, but everybody says the food is great, and you can kind of sit and have some great food and watch the planes go in and out. That's Thursday, October 21st. If you're interested, you can drive there yourself, or you can go in our Council on Aging van, which leaves Congregational Church at 10:45 a.m., returns about 3 to 4 p.m. There's a $5 van fee, but please register if you are interested at 978-371-6690 by Thursday, October 17th.
It's great for little kids and grandkids, by the way.
There you go.
That's it.
Oh, you mean the restaurant? Yeah.
Well, they are more interested in the planes, but the restaurant.
That's a good point, Tim. A good intergenerational. There you go. On a little earlier in October, Wednesday, October 2nd at 7:30 p.m., there's going to be a senior dress rehearsal of Neil Simon's California Suite. That's being produced by the Theater 3 Company in Acton. Again, Wednesday, October 2nd at 7:30. Tickets are $5 at the door, so this is another one of those occasions where the local
Dress rehearsal.
dress rehearsals, where the theater company, they're going to be doing these dress rehearsals anyway, and so it's a good opportunity for people to be able to go see what is tantamount to the actual show itself. For sometimes it's free, sometimes it's $5, but you can get in probably less crowded and have a really nice time.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to let us know. It's just show up.
Just show up and pay your money.
Exactly. Also, it's important to mention that Medicare open enrollment, it's not too early to mention this, is starting on Thursday, October 31st. And there's going to be, on October 15th through December 7th, but there's going to be a Medicare open enrollment presentation on Thursday, October 31st at Carlisle Town Hall, right here in the Clark Room at 1:30 p.m. So most people who are on Medicare are aware of these open enrollment dates, which usually is mid-October through that first week in December. For people who are thinking about switching or have always wanted to ask questions, I think this is an opportunity to come to the presentation, ask some questions. Maybe if the question can't be answered in the session, create an appointment with our Shine Counselor, Clyde. But this is a good time of the year to think that through. And if you're going to be turning 65 soon and would like to kind of prepare yourself, this is another opportunity.
So if you were perhaps thinking about differences in your supplemental or your advantage and Part D,
Yep.
any of those things, that
Any
this
of
is a
those.
good place to go and ask questions. And
That's right.
they may not be able to direct you to the specific plan, but they'll tell you how to get to it, I would imagine. Yeah.
And they'll tell you what your options are.
Yeah.
And it's also good because sometimes some of the plans stop being plans. And so if you got notified that your plan isn't coming back, this is a good place to get the first bit of information on what your choices are. And it's open to people from Concord as well. So if you're listening to this and you can't make the presentation in Concord, feel free to join us.
It's a valuable.
Well, that's right. And likewise, people from Carlisle could go to Concord for this information because it's not the Carlisle Medicare plan.
Go to the big city.
Yeah. One last thing, and I'll turn it over to Angela, is an announcement for Village University, the fall of 2019. The Concord Carlisle Adult and Community Education Village University offers courses for mature learners or the young at heart who are mature, who are seeking stimulating study and conversation about interesting topics. Full course is shown on the CCACE website at www.concordcarlisleace.org.
I'm not sure if I want to be a mature learner. I want to be a child. I want to learn with laughter and enthusiasm.
Childhood enthusiasm. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have coffees the first Wednesday or Thursday of every month. So for October, it's on the 2nd. It's at Village Court at 145 Church Street. And in October, it is hosted by Abba Singal, our COA board chair, and Elizabeth Acquaviva, who's on our Friends board. On the second Monday and the fourth Monday of every month, we go to Ferns, and we have some really good conversation, and either we or the Epic Bridges, which is an assisted living in Westford, provide refreshments in terms of pastries, and then you get a discount on your coffee. So that's getting bigger. I know Jean has been coming, and I think it's really great. There's a core group of people that come and enjoy talking together, and it's a very interesting conversation. Then we have our men's breakfast, which will be on October 10th at 8 o'clock at Village Court. And we go once a month to Neshoba Tech for their culinary arts program. And this is really special because we've gotten so now we have typically 30 people that go
30.
and have lunch there. And the choices are coq au vin or filet of sole with seafood stuffing, along with a baked sea scallops and a baked stuffed shrimp. And because the
Those are kind of a light lunch.
friends are sponsoring this to make sure we have more opportunities for seniors to get out and have a good meal and have conversation, it's only $5 for a full meal.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then we go to our Chelmsford Crossing Lunch, which is something we share with different churches, as you know. In October on the 3rd, it is at St. Irene's, and we always have a program, and the program that month is going to be the Concord Players. So they're going to be
great.
doing various skits, and so that's fun. And our monthly COA lunch, which is usually the third Thursday of every month, will be on October 17th. And we have Donna Halper, who is a PhD author, educated, and media historian. And she's written a book, and she's going to come talk about the highlights of well-received book on Boston radio from 1920 to 2010. And somebody I know has listened to her and said she's very interesting. So that should be a very good program.
So she'll be talking about popular radio shows and
Yeah.
the host? Oh, that would be interesting, yeah.
So join us on October 17th at 11:45 at FRS. And then on November 7th, we have somebody who is going to be portray the life of Albert Einstein and act as though he is Albert Einstein. So that should be fun. That's our Chelmsford Crossing, which will be at FRS. So maybe you'll be one of the people hosting us.
Usually I'm.
And also here in this room, we have the flu clinic on October 4th, Friday, from 10 to 11:30. And that is for Carlisle residents who are 65 and older. And we will have the high dose as well as some of the regular dose. I know that's one of the things we've been getting questions on. And as soon as we get enough people, we will do another Charlie Card event. So if you're 65 and you don't have a Charlie Card, please give us a call at the COA at 978-371-2895, and we'll take your name and number. And as soon as we get enough people, because the MBTA require us to have a minimum number in order to call it a Charlie Card event, then we'll take pictures, you'll fill out the form, and 2 to 4 weeks you'll get a Charlie Card in the mail.
Yeah, if you haven't done this, do it. It's the traffic, as we all know, is getting worse, and it's the population is exceeding the ability of Boston to maintain the roads. But don't not go to the city. You can go to the Alewife with this, and it's really easy to use, and it's really easy to get around the city, and it's a great thing. It's like half price, and it's.
I think we got rated the second best subway system recently. It was on the news this
Which is
weekend.
hard for me to believe, but
I know, scary, huh?
I mean, they need to do more, but it still is a great subway system, and the city is eminently walkable once you get down there. It's the access, it's the original access it's hard, and take advantage of it. Boston is an amazing place, and this particular thing will allow you to do it at a reasonable
half
cost,
price.
and not deal with the which I think is a formidable barrier for many older people. Understandably, it's hard to drive down there and find a place to park, but you can do it with this, and we do it all the time. So
And you can use it on the commuter rail as well as the subway and the
Right.
buses. And even the shuttle boat allows you to use the Charlie Card.
And it's really easy to it stores the money right on the card, so it's very easy at the machines to update that. So it's a very, very easy system. I vouch for it.
And anybody from any town, because the more people we have, the quicker I can do the event. So if you live in another town, you happen to be watching this, or you have friends in another town that are turning 65, then tell them about it and have them call us.
And as the aside, it helps the problem with the traffic if we don't all drive down there. So
Absolutely. So we're starting back our community conversations, which are programs of things that we think people would be interested in. And on September 26th at 2:30 at the Gleason Library, we're going to have a program on decluttering one box at a time. And then on October 29th, we'll be going to the Carlisle Public School and meeting with the Chinese school teacher and her younger students and her junior high students, and they're going to teach us about culture and characters, serve us tea, and then the little kids perform for us. So that is such a wonderful event.
sounds
It's
great.
always fun. And I think we should hear from Jean.
yeah, let's hear from the Friends of the Council on Aging.
Happily. I'm always so amazed about what activities are available to us. And just hearing about restaurants and theater and Charlie Card, which I use and I'm so appreciative of. But I'm just blown away. We could eat ourselves from breakfast to wonderful lunches. But right now, I'd like to remind everyone about the upcoming annual fall cultural events at the Gleason Public Library. These are talks supported by the Friends of the Carlisle Council on Aging and the Friends of the Library. They're held on Wednesdays at 1:30 in the afternoon. You do have to register in advance for each of the talks. Kicking off things coming up next week is a topic that is kind of prescient, at least to me, in terms of events that have been marked this year historically, but it's America at War from 1941 to 1945. And this is presented by Gary Highlander, who's a favorite. He's addressed us in many different topics, and he's quite a dynamic speaker. He'll be presenting on the 25th of September and on October 2nd. In October, on the 16th, Richard Travers will be presenting American folk music, and this, I think, should be interesting to a lot of, not just seniors, but just the whole idea Ken Burns is doing right now, or has done a documentary on country music. And this sort of ties in because Richard Travers will be talking about the Carter family, Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie, Joan Baez, Pete Seeger, and others, right up to more current people like Alison Krauss. So I think as far as Richard Travers, his broad experience in music is just fascinating. On the 23rd, he'll be back with military music, and these would be things that are from sunrise to sunset, military music to the battlefield, and again, I think with the music that we're all familiar with, the favorites, we had at Senior Moments a newcomer to Carlisle who plays the ukulele for Alzheimer's patients, and he had us singing along to America the Beautiful and all kinds of patriotic songs at 9:30 in the morning. So I think that this will be quite a bit of walking through history with the music and also the perspective given by Gary Highlander. And wrapping up the series on October 30th and again on November 6th, Jason Giannetti will be back to talk about religion, and all religions utilize myth, and so he'll be talking about the symbols such as the ritual use of food and what myths are sacred, and it's a two-part series. So he's always interesting. I particularly enjoyed his talk on the Muslim religions that he did in the recent past. So these are also going to be attended. You have to, it's limited seating. You have to reserve by going to the Gleason Public Library website or calling the library, but well worth attending.
And these are popular, right? These do fill up, right?
Yeah.
They do,
Yeah.
and for good reason. These speakers are well known to our
Right.
community, and they're excellent at their craft. So
The point being, do it earlier than later if you want to go. You don't want to
Absolutely.
be disappointed because
absolutely. So we are also, as the Friends, in November, kicking off our annual fundraising event. There'll be a flyer sent out around Thanksgiving, and we encourage everyone to support by donation the Friends, the fundraising arm of the Council on Aging, to keep these programs and activities going. We are very fortunate to have the many activities, whether it's exercise or eating or discussions. We are happy to fund these events and hope that people will be generous in their support yet again. I actually, Angela mentioned that I go to Senior Moments. I've connected with two seniors that we all grew up in Cambridge together, and so we talk a lot about back then, and that's been a really fun thing across the ages. We're all different ages, but we have a common background. And also, starting tomorrow, I'm beginning Tai Chi, and one of the many fine exercise programs. And I suppose after I go to Senior Moments, eat the pastries, go to Tai Chi, then I'll be thinking about the chair volleyball and other things that are offered. But I will again make a plug for donations to the Friends, Bucks 38, Carlisle, and we can accept donations anytime, but please look for our flyer and please help us out.
Well, and I also think we've got to let people know that it's not just programs. We also are blessed by the Friends helping with fuel assistance. We're providing gift cards for the seniors who, may need a little extra help with Market Basket gift cards around usually Thanksgiving and around also around the Easter time. And we buy medical equipment because the Friends provide us with the money to do that. So we're very blessed to have that.
Of all of the funds that you have access to, this is not a small amount.
No. As a matter of fact, it's like another 10% of our entire budget, and that you might think that doesn't sound like a lot. It really means all the difference between comfortably doing things and just scraping by.
I think in very many organizations, that extra 10% means the difference between getting by with what we do and really making it exciting and interesting.
Exactly.
And, and it's really important. And to be fair, I think you have an amazingly loyal group of contributors.
I agree, and I think that none of these programs are costing less each year to support. So we hope that each year people can see their way to maybe upping their contribution if possible. But it's all being put to very good use.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing it. It's important to the town and it's important to the programs.
So we have a few other programs quickly we'll mention. We also have what we call a social hour, which is really more like an hour and a half, and that's at Benfield, and in October it will be on the 21st, and that's just sort of get together and chat, and one of the Benfield residents hosts it for us and provides nice refreshment, and it's amazing. Sometimes people will bring, I've been on a trip, and they'll bring information back, and other people will talk about things that have happened in the past, or the discussions goes in all different ways, and people have gotten to be good friends from going to that. And we have a lovely woman who offers meditation for us once a month for free, every Monday for free. The Reiki is done once a month by a person who's a Reiki practitioner. So we do that, and we want to make sure people are aware that Pass It Forward Day is happening twice this year. So on October 5th, we'll be doing that. So if you know of anything that you might want to donate to an organization, now's the time to get it ready and prepare to do that. And we also, just quickly for the exercise, on Monday we have tap, Tuesday we have Zumba and Tai Chi, Wednesday we have yoga, Thursday we have fitness and cardio, and Friday we have Sama, which is based on martial arts. But it's basically exercise, and it helps you with your balance. And I know I've been taking it for years, and my husband was watching some program this weekend that said, stand on one leg and cross your arms, and can you stand like that for 30 seconds? And I could, and nobody on the television could. And it's all because of that class. So I'm an example of why you would want to take it. So David, did you want to tell us a little bit about some other things, like maybe aging together with UMass?
Yes, this is interesting. Maybe other COAs have been contacted about this as well, I imagine so. UMass Boston has a gerontology institute, and so they do research I should mention Boston College also has a Center for Retirement Research as well. We're blessed in the Boston area with schools that do research in this field. But the UMass Boston Research Study in this particular area is very interesting to me. It's called Aging Together: Senior Children and Their Parents. So it's senior children and their parents. It's people who are age 65 and above and their parents who are age 90 and above. And, I don't know that a generation ago anybody would have thought about studying this, but it is a thing. And as a matter of fact, we have people that come who are seniors to our events who bring their parents to our events.
But then again, several generations ago, people lived it, right? 'Cause
Yes.
everybody was in the same house.
That's true. That's a good point, Tim. People lived together, and so anyway, this is what it's saying is you are part of a growing group, but we don't know much about you. We want to learn what your relationship is like, what challenges you may face, and support you may need. Also, if your parent has dementia, how has that changed the relationship? So what they're proposing to do is an in-person interview with you at a place of your convenience. I'm assuming that means maybe at your home or library or someplace like that. And in return, you'll receive $40 as a thank you. So it's a study. It's a real study. They say, please call our research team at 617-901-1082 or send an email to Aging Together. That's Aging Together at umb.edu. UMB, which stands for UMassBoston.edu.
Well, that's great. I think we're starting to walk up. As Gene, just building on what Gene said, I'm always blown away by the range of things that we do and the amount of programming. And I think, David, I know you verified this. There's a tremendous amount of research that has recently been completed that talks about, that is researching loneliness leading to depression, and now being able to confirm that actually leads to physical issues, okay, in people. So that's why that's critically as important, is that there is a record number of people stating that they are lonely, particularly in older communities. If you feel lonely, you don't have to be. You can just listen to this program and listen to the array of things that are available to you. And it not only provides great social attributes, it provides great physical attributes. It keeps you healthy, okay, to get involved with things. And we're so lucky to have a great Council on Aging that not only supports these programs, that actually makes them happy and makes them interesting. So thank you all. I'm going to close with a little bit about the next program. The next Carlisle Community Forum will be on October 21st. It will be hosted by Carrie Kissinger. The topic will be an individual from the Poison Control Center, which provide information about the danger, obviously, and strategies and techniques to avoid it. And we'll have the normal array of interesting information about our programs. So enjoy October. I always think we're so blessed to be in this place in the fall. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the town is beautiful, and enjoy the fall season. And with that, we'll close the show today.
Thank you.